right, well, let's go ahead and get started with the program tonight. First of all, I would like to say thank you and welcome to our parents, and also a historic night for St. Mary's, as we're also welcoming our parents via Facebook Live tonight. So parents who are at home and not able to get here tonight can watch this via Facebook, and hopefully it'll be a start of something great for us in that department. Also, we are recording this and videoing it, so it will be available to parents in about a week or so. So that being said, this is curriculum night. I feel like this should be like Saturday night, because I feel like I've already lived about 7 days this week. We had just finished up our Board of Trustees winter meeting with meetings on Tuesday, Wednesday, and today. And then now we're with our parents, which is great for curriculum night. So we're thrilled that you're here. Before I get started, I just want to say a word of thanks to all these folks around the room who are the Team St. Mary's. Because what you're going to see tonight is a culmination of all of their efforts over the past, really since 2014. I'm going to explain a little bit about that in a second. So while there are going to be some really great enhancements to what we do at St. Mary's, please know this just didn't take place in the last 2 months or 3 months or whatever. We've been working on this for a while. And I think your daughters are all going to benefit from it. So in 2014-15 is the last year that St. Mary's worked on a strategic plan. And when you work on strategic plans, you always talk about the mission of your school, and maybe you make adjustments to your mission, or you just verify that that is in fact what you want to take place. And this is the mission of our school, and we include these two little objective statements to the bottom. So we are all about preparing our young women for college and for life, right? It's not just about their high school years. It's not just about getting into college. It is truly about preparing them for life. So when we did this strategic plan, they had, the team at the time came up with 6 objectives that would help them accomplish the strategic plan. Among those, I'm going to talk about 3 of those tonight because they directly impact what you're going to learn this evening. 1, provide a school culture that enables girls to lead, self-advocate, create, innovate, unleash their potential, and experience joy. You're going to hear about that tonight for sure. For the benefit of our girls, invest in our most valuable asset, our people, allocating resources for faculty, staff, alumni, and parents. And finally, the 6th point is enrich the educational program with mission-aligned integration of traditional and innovative approaches to teaching and learning. So those 3 tenets are going to be covered in the various presentations you hear tonight. I'm just here to introduce the folks who've actually made this happen are you're going to hear from primarily this evening. So I liken it to, well, I'll tell you this little story. When I came and visited St. Mary's last spring, after I had accepted the position to come to school, I visited a few times in the spring. Both times when I met with girls, I heard a 6-letter word quite often, and that word was stress. They brought it up to me when I said, like, what would you change about the school if you could change? If you were the head of school, what would you do? And they said, oh, we're all dealing with stress. Now, I will say that one of the girls, she was a senior, at the time said, you know, that stress is something we bring on ourselves. We're kind of like competitive about it. So one girl will say she's having a stressful day or whatever, and her friend will say, well, I've got to outdo that. So I'm going to outstress you and tell you I've got more stress than you've got. And then it rolls over. So they actually got a good chuckle out of it, and they all laughed and said, oh, that's so true. Like, we do that. That's probably human nature a little bit. But the more we dug into it, the more we heard, yeah, there are some stress points for the school. And that's why that experience joy phrase ended up in our strategic plan, to make sure that they are having a joyful experience while they're here. So what you're going to hear about tonight, I used this analogy earlier today. Our girls have a full plate, right? The worst thing we could do is keep more stuff on that plate, right? And make them even more busy. That would be the wrong thing to do. I think of what we're going to show you tonight as giving them a little bit larger plate so that they can spread their food out a little bit more. Maybe we're going to garnish it a little bit and make it a little bit more attractive to them. Okay? So think of it that terms. We're not adding more. You're going to hear all about that tonight when you follow along. We are targeting the girls who we think we know best. Another issue that we have been talking about, and since I arrived in July, I've been asking this question a lot. What makes St. Mary's different? What truly is our distinguishing factor? A lot of people answer, we're an all-girls school. Well, okay, that's absolutely right. We are an all-girls school. We cater to girls, and we think we do it well, and we know girls. My sort of question has been, well, what are we doing about it? Like, what are we really doing to address the girls and their needs and their world that they live in? So you're going to hear a lot about that tonight with some of the programming we've come up with. So we've been doing this since 1842, 176 years. This is our 176th year. So there's a lot of, well, think of it in these terms. In 1842, with a school just for girls in Raleigh, North Carolina, was that the standard at the time? Anybody want to answer? No, it was a pretty bold move, right? To educate women, to prepare them for the best lives they can do. So we're just advancing that same vision that Albert Sneed had way back then. We've got to prepare these girls for their fast-changing world. It's different from when you and I were growing up, too. So lot changes. I am proud of this statement. I do think we provide an environment where girls feel safe, and they feel safe taking risks. We talked about that at the start of the year, like that gift of failure. It's okay to make a mistake. It's okay to take a risk. So we are going to build on those themes tonight. We know it's not enough just to be a girls' school. Okay? So I'm going to turn it over to Dean of Students, Tim Healy, who is going to be with you front and center for a while, and I'll be back later on. So Tim?
It's going to be a little bit like set changes up here tonight as we rotate through. First of all, by the way, great crowd here tonight. I do want to say this. This shows how much you all are committed to this school and to your girls. Hopefully you'll see that commitment back by the end of this tonight. And just examples of that commitment are all over the place. We were up at Durham on Tuesday night for the girls' basketball playoff game. We had more fans up there than Durham Academy had at their own home game. So that was nice to see. Hopefully some of those that were here are nicer to me during this, and maybe they were at the refs during the game as we get on them. So, as Brendan said, we know it's not enough just to simply know girls. We know that they live in an ever-changing world. I mean, think about this for a second. Think about maybe the career you're in. Did that even exist when you were in high school? And the rate of change is even faster. Education in a lot of ways was the same from the 1940s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, almost up until now. And the rate of change, again, is going faster and faster. And because of that, the careers that they're going into, we have to prepare for girls for jobs that might not even exist yet, that they can't even fathom. Over 5 years now, we've studied educational and industry leaders. Last year, a group of us actually went to Seattle. When we went there, we met with leaders at Microsoft. We met with their college recruiting human resources team. We asked them. We went to Boeing. We went to Amazon. We all asked the same question. What are the skills and competencies that you're looking for in young women as they enter into the workforce? And then what are the competencies and skills they need to thrive in your environment and keep advancing? And so we brought that back to this. We went and we reviewed cutting edge and learning materials from all the leading industry experts. What was also interesting when we were out at at the major corporations is they were using a lot more of the educational words as we were using. So we were starting to see some synergy there with what we were trying to do. And the result was really 10 key competencies On your chairs, you have a curriculum guide that has them in it. You don't need to take it out now because it might be a little bit like opening a map in the passenger seat of a car. Your kids that are in here probably don't remember what that's like, but you do. All right, so you can see them through here. Collaboration, communication, critical thinking, cross-cultural intelligence, growth mindset, which is one that we've spoken about for a while. New media literacy and computational thinking. That might be a new one for some of you. Self-expression, self-directed learning, servant leadership, and social emotional intelligence. Again, these were all key things that were identified from educational leaders and business leaders as we went out and met with them. So the question then becomes, how do we deliver these competencies? And we're really fortunate because we are in a great place to be able to deliver these competencies. Real estate, it's always been location, 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 but increasingly it's also about that in education. We really want to leverage our location. So this year, as you're already starting to see the seeds of this start to take root. In the Compass Exploration programs this year, how many of you have a daughter that's gone off on one of the Compass Exploration days and has gone outside the gates? I see some hands going up. Well, we're going to increase that. We are going to look for more in-depth partnerships. We started one with HQ Raleigh this year, and a little while later when some of my colleagues are going to come up, they're going to talk about some of the other partnerships we're looking to develop. So location is huge because every day it seems as though Raleigh has another accolade as a business place. There is a little bit of some irony here, right? We went to Amazon last year, and now what might happen with Amazon? They might come to us. And one of the big reasons for that is, with no offense to those of you that have Queen City roots here, when they gave the report back of why Raleigh and not necessarily Charlotte in the finalists, they identified the traits in our workforce in the triangle. So we're poised for that in a unique way, and we're going to leverage that more. And you're going to see how it is. We, of course, are also going to leverage it in the classroom. So you're going to see first how it leverages in the classroom, and then we're going to talk about a little bit how we're going to leverage it outside the gates. So these competencies are already starting to get delivered in our classrooms, and with that, I'm going to turn it over to Melissa Ramel and Becca Gorham, who are going to have some sweet treats with them as well, so that's going to make it way more interesting right off the top.
Like TV lights. It's really like, hi Facebook. It's like being on TV. Good evening, everyone. We're so happy to be here. As Tim said, I'm Melissa Ramel. I teach world history in the humanities department. It's nice to see some familiar faces out there. It makes me feel comfortable in my big foray into the World Wide Web live. And this is Becca Gorham, who teaches Spanish in the World Languages Department. And because we couldn't take you all into our classrooms this evening, we wanted to bring a little bit of our classrooms to you and show you how we're currently using the 10 key competencies in our classroom. And real quick before I begin, I have a quick, just really short informal survey, if I may. I'm just curious how many of you can relate to this experience. I have this very vivid recollection of walking to my 11th grade history class every day and passing one of my good friends in the same place every time and asking her, what did we do in history today? And every day for 180 straight school days, she said, took notes, watch a movie. Every single day, that was our conversation. Can anyone kind of relate to a similar experience? So one of the great things about implementing the 10 key competencies is that they are twofold. One, we really equipped our girls with skills that are going to benefit them inside the classroom, outside the classroom, and beyond their time at St. Mary's. And it really encourages we, the teachers, to be creative and outside-the-box thinking in what we design with our lessons. And so Becca and I would love to share 4 of these activities with you all tonight. And some of you might see some familiar faces in here. But first, quickly, the first activity I wanted to share was grounded in the essential question of, were the Mongols a positive or negative impact or force in history? And I really wanted the girls to gain multiple perspectives around this question in a short amount of time. So I thought about it, and I thought about it, and I thought, of course, speed dating, right? You get a lot of perspectives in that. I've actually never been on a speed date, but that's what I was thinking. And so I took the concept of a speed date and built Mongol speed debating. And as you can see in the first picture on the left, I set up the classroom so that the girls face each other in desks. and essentially assigned each girl a perspective that answered one side of this question. And then they had to do some research to justify their position. And I sent them on 7 3-minute long speed debates. And in it, they discussed, again, both angles or perspectives of this question. And then after their 7 speed debates, each girl had to decide for herself, separate from what she was assigned, how she would answer this question and justify it. And then I left the door open for creative licensing, and I told the girls, show me in some way, with the research, what your answer to this question is. And so these are just a couple of the terrific products girls created. I am a self-proclaimed social media nerd, and those of you who have daughters in my class may have been told that I love to use hashtags as much as possible, speaking and writing, and so the name of this assignment actually was hashtag Team Promo or hashtag Team Nomo. And so the girls got to choose which hashtag they would take, and then you can see they had to defend their position or their perspective using the research they gathered from these speed debates or additional research they did outside. And so before I go to my next activity, I just want to do a quick assessment of my audience, our audience, excuse me. And it's open note, so please feel free to open the curriculum guides. Can anyone identify for us any of the 10 key competencies? And in case we need some extrinsic motivation, we got a heck of a deal the day after Valentine's Day on some candy. So we have heart-shaped Dum Dum Pops for anyone who wants to shout out. Yes, sir. Communication, wonderful. Just raise your hand, shout it out. We will take anything. Perfect. Growth mindset. Back over here. Growth mindset. Let's go two more. Critical thinking. Let's go one more.
Critical thinking is self-expression.
Self-expression, awesome. Mrs. McCormick, thank you. All right, wonderful. And keep those in mind. There was right here,
critical
next to Mr. Hodge. Perfect. Okay. The second activity I wanted to share is one that my sophomores recently wrapped up, titled Absolute Stick Figure, Absolute Monarch. And the essential question that was driving this activity was which one of the absolute rulers who we studied most represented or symbolized this concept of absolutism. Obviously, 17th century European absolutism is everyone's favorite topic. And that's because during this time period, we see some of the more fascinating humans that have ever existed in human history. And so I wanted the girls to get to know each one a little bit differently. So what I tasked them with was they had to dissect one of the assigned absolute monarchs and dissect them by anatomically describing different parts of their personality. Brains, what were their ideas? Eyes, their vision. Shoulders, their strengths. Right hand and left hand, their actions and their contributions to history. Their heart, they were passionate about, what they loved. And then their Achilles heel, what were their weaknesses or challenges they had to overcome. And again, it was up to the girls to determine how they wanted to bring their absolute monarch to class for all of us to meet him or her. And so there was a lot of creative licensing with how they did this. And once each group introduced their absolute monarch to us, the girls then had to go back to the original question, so who most represents or symbolizes absolutism, and then stand by the absolute monarch and defend her position. And so you can see over on the far right that Louis XIV won in a big landslide in B period, but we also had some girls who believe Philip II, and then Ivan the Terrible over here. And then the culminating piece of this was a paragraph the girls had to write, again, answering the question and defending their position. And so I just wanted to show you some of the products of hashtag Like a Boss. And we have Louis XIV. Over on the far right was King Henry IV, or Henry of Navarre, France. And then in the middle was a life-size Ivan the Terrible, courtesy of Amazon Prime, with the beard. And again, the different elements of his personality dissected by the girls. So it was a really terrific activity. I'd never done it before, and the girls, of course, just exceeded any expectations that I had. So again, can anyone identify any of the 10 key competencies in hashtag Like a Boss? Critical thinking, wonderful. You can even repeat the same ones, it's fine. The girls were working together, nice. I didn't set any creative restrictions. they could use self-expression. Good. Okay. So thank you for your time and taking a little tiny glimpse into life and world history. And now I'm super excited to pass it over to my partner in crime, Becca Gorham.
Awesome. Hashtag amazing, right? All those things going on in history class, really cool. As Melissa said, my name is Becca Gorham, and I am one of 3 Spanish teachers here at St. Mary's. I teach honors intermediate Spanish as well as Spanish 2. And I think Melissa mentioned this, but I just wanted to say it means so much to us to have the opportunity to speak to you tonight, because we love what we do, and we love your kids, and we love being part of the St. Mary's community, because it's a very, very special and unique place. But I don't need to tell you guys that, you already know. So let's jump into the activities. Like Melissa did herself with her activities, you need to be thinking about the 10 key competencies and how they relate to the activities that are taking place in Spanish class. Entonces, bueno, vamos. Okay, so the first activity I'm going to talk about is what I like to call rapping the irregular preterite. I did this with my honors intermediate Spanish class. Maybe your students have been talking to you about it. The essential question is, do we know and understand both the meanings and conjugations of irregular verbs in the preterite tense? Okay, so basically, in groups, the girls were assigned an irregular preterite verb. They were expected to teach the verb to the class through a song, chant, or rap. Their song, rap, or chant needed to include the verb's definition, its conjugations, and anything irregular going on within the verb, for example, stem changes or accent marks, that type of thing. They were required to present the song, rap, or chant to the class and then turn in a copy of their lyrics. So you can see here a lot of my girls took a common pop song or popular pop song, rap song, and just changed up the lyrics a little bit. So you can see one group taught the verb buscar, to look for, using Taylor Swift's Look What You Made Me Do. I don't know if maybe you guys have heard that song. Also, too many times. On the other picture I have here, another group taught the verb caer, to fall, using Cardi B's Bodak Yellow. Cardi B is a famous female rapper, so I'm not sure you guys have heard that song, but
no, a fan favorite, I'm sure.
Cardi B. All right. So absolutely. So teaching different verbs using popular pop songs and rap songs. Okay. Another group taught the verb buscar in my other intermediate class, using the song "Closer" by the Chainsmokers. And then, of course, we had to include Bruno Mars's "Treasure" and change that up to teach the verb creer, to believe or to think. So the next slide, you can really see, I kind of did a snapshot of my girls presenting these kind of mid-presentation, and hashtag, continuing with Melissa's hashtag theme, hashtag all smiles, hashtag make learning relatable. They are all smiling, you guys. They're having a blast. And I think the third picture over, you can see Madison and Kate and Camille. They were the group that actually did caer, to fall, using Cardi B's Bodak Yellow. The female rapper. And I don't have a video of them doing this, and I wish I did, but I wondered if you guys would be okay with me just rapping a few of the lines tonight. If you'd like to hear it, maybe a round of applause. Oh, great. Okay. So I'm sure I'm not doing it as well as they did it in class, but here it goes. Okay. Said little chica, you can conjugate with me if you wanted to. These is preterite, these is I to Y, these is stem changes. So that's just a little taste of what it was like to be there and hear some of these presentations. And when they were assessed, when they were given a test on the irregular preterite, I wish I had a video to show you of this as well, because I could see them kind of some body movement and some humming to the tunes of the songs, honestly, guys, because their group really remembered the song that they presented, but also they heard the songs that their peers presented during each of the presentations, and they stuck in their minds because songs are catchy. So now that you've heard a little bit about rapping the irregular preterite, which of the 10 competencies would you all say relate to this particular activity? Please scream them out. We've got candy.
Or if you just want a sucker, raise your hand.
We got a deal, guys. We got a deal.
Collaboration.
Yes. Buen trabajo. Muy bien. ¿Qué más? ¿Qué más? Cross-cultural intelligence? Yep. Anything else? Communication, absolutely.
They're coming for you. Yes.
Music is media literacy.
Media literacy. Thank you, Brendan. Awesome. Yeah, candy for Brendan. All right, awesome. Okay, so moving on to the next activity, I like to call it Speed Racer. It is an activity I do with my Spanish girls. Maybe you've heard about it. Essential question, can we communicate numbers, times, dates, and addresses in the target language? So in Spanish 2, we're reading a book about a teenager named Brandon who stole his dad's fancy car while his parents were on vacation in Hawaii to take out his new girlfriend. On the way home from their date, he gets a speeding ticket. Students were asked to create a speeding ticket to present to the class and to turn into me, not for the main character of our book, but for whoever they wanted to give the speeding ticket to. So you can see I was issued a speeding ticket. I didn't realize that mugshots were included on speeding tickets these days, but maybe they are. I wasn't too upset because, as you can see here, when it says vehicle, I was driving a yellow Porsche, so that was kind of cool. But you can see some of the things that the girls needed to include in their speeding ticket and also present to the class. The marked speed limit versus the speed limit the person was actually going, the time, date, the amount of money the person would need to pay for the speeding ticket, the camera number, and then the person's name and address, and of course their vehicle, not just the type of vehicle, but the color. Of course, we didn't leave Dwayne La Roca Johnson out. I think that was Rainey's. That was Rainey's ticket. Hashtag Speed Demons. Hashtag My First Mugshot. Hashtag Bringing the Book to Life. Also, hashtag Squirrels Can Drive. A squirrel received a speeding ticket, as well as, guys, I have to say, a lot of parents received speeding tickets, and Tina Glover was one of those people. Going 101 and a 65? Tina! All right, and then last but not least, we can't leave out Kim K driving her pink Lamborghini, going 118 and I think it was a 35. She's upset in the picture, but you know she can afford the $1,468 fine, so I'm not sure why she's so upset. So that's kind of the speed racer activity. Thinking about the 10 key competencies, what would you guys say relates? We do still have more candy.
Mrs. Glover, do you just want the bag?
Give her the bag. Give her the bag. A round of applause for Tina. Thank you guys so much. Like I said, it means a lot just to be here tonight to talk with you guys, seeing familiar faces, and we want to pass it back to Tim. So there we go.
Hopefully Mongol speed dating is the only type of dating girls do, that speed dating for the next couple of months as they concentrate on schools. So, all right. As you can see, this is really getting to the core of how we're going to fulfill our mission. Brendan said it earlier. When St. Mary's was founded, it was a really progressive idea, and we are continuing to be progressive in how we deliver our curriculum. We are integrating what girls need to know in this world that is changing. And we want to make sure that it is one that is designed for them, and it goes deep, and it's not just wide. And when we do that, the possibilities do become endless. I think of myself, if I was even sitting in their classroom, what I would have seen the possibilities are in Spanish or in history. So again, the possibilities become endless. Now, you got a taste of it, but the question becomes, how do we deliver it school-wide? How do we look at it from a curriculum standpoint school-wide? How do we look at it from a schedule point school-wide? How do we develop our teachers to be able to deliver it school-wide? So it's not just a taste, but it's embedded and ingrained. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Leslie Owen, our Dean of Teaching and Learning, so she can show you just how that's going to happen next year.
Hello, everyone. As Tim mentioned, I'm Leslie Owen. I do not rap, and I don't have any speeding tickets. And I might have a hard time reading when I've got on this page because I'm so vain that I don't want to put my glasses on. So if I miscue, you know what happened. We've talked about the theoretical ideals around how do we go about doing this. And want to talk to you about this in 3 different stages. These ideals come down to looking at what enhancements we can do to the curriculum, what can we do with respect to our schedule, because as you know, your children have probably talked to you about this, is that our schedule is packed. There is no room to do much. So we're going to talk a lot today about what we're going to do about that. And with every change, we have to make sure that we invest in our human beings. And that is with a tremendous amount of professional development that we're doing currently and that we'll continue to do. You know that you have these documents. I'm going to ask you to open them up. And then you're going to have to put them back together. It's the hard part. On this document, right next to the 10 key competencies, you will see what each department is offering next year with respect to curriculum. So we're going to talk just a little bit about the curriculum first. In the science department, if you look down, you can see there are asterisks. I'm pointing this out to you because I don't want to lose sight of the fact that we are still a college preparatory school offering a college preparatory program. This is a liberal arts situation. This is what colleges require. We understand that, we know that, and that is just a part of what we do. So I don't want to lose sight of that. But what I do want to point and bring to your attention is that there are a number of asterisks on this page because we are going to be enhancing our curriculum next year. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. Before I do, in the back of this room are all of the academic leaders that support this work. Without their ingenuity and their forethought, when we talked about offering new courses, we would not be standing here tonight to be doing that. So I wanted to, Allison Chernin, the English department, Jennifer Hummel of the science department, Suzanne Narbona, the world languages department, Jennifer Moran, the visual and performing arts, the giant department, Scott Orvis, the director of college counseling, Krista Holstein, mathematics, and Stephanie Susky, the humanities department. So let's get into this just a little bit deeper. I'm just going to put this away now. And didn't fold it right. There you go. So in the 2017-2018 school year, this current year, we started to look at what it is that we needed to offer in order to give our girls what they need for college and life. And one of the things that we heard from industry is that we need to equip our students with some kind of computer science coding. It is absolutely a necessity in today's world, and girls are largely underrepresented in the computer science field. So we offered a coding class that was offered by an instructor here, but we had help. We had from a the Microsoft has a philanthropic division that we got some money and some support from, and we were able to offer coding for our girls with 2 experts from the greater Raleigh area that come in almost daily to work with our girls first thing every morning. So that was a huge leg up for us to be able to offer that in a way that will help our instructor to move forward when those people are no longer able to come in and to help us. They can move this forward. We also started a partnership with HQ Raleigh, which is the entrepreneurial hub here in Raleigh. They've got a number of places that they've opened, and we started a partnership with them, and we started with I call it a prototype of a class that we were going to offer that is outside the gates of the school, and we offered it as a Pathways program to see what kind of traction we could get with that. and we got tremendous traction. As a matter of fact, that traction has really accelerated what it is that we want to do in many ways that you're going to see here tonight. So, along with the program that we always offer, we are going to be enhancing our curriculum this year with offering biomedical. That is a course that Jennifer Hummel brought forward to say that this is a really hands-on, very engaging class that involves students in a project that I believe starts with a death. Yeah. So with the fact that we are in Raleigh and the Triangle, biomedical is a big part of what we do here. So the connections to our community, I think, are vast. But this is going to be a really interesting course where students are going to actually be very engaged in hands-on activities. We're going to offer economics. And the reason why is because when you look at what 21st century education needs to be, economics is on that list. And I think that we all know that it's probably a really good idea for students to have a really good basic understanding of economics. And so that is something that we're going to offer this year. We're going to try and offer more video in the VPA department, where girls will be able to use video to tell stories, to be able to understand how you can use that technology to show what they know in more creative ways. And video is one of those things that is extremely popular and conveys stories extremely well. In our English department, we are again offering college preparatory kinds of programs, but they are shaking it up in the English department. They're working on, and they have used the girls' ideas to come up with some really, really interesting seminar type courses that will go deep. And the girls are really excited about that, so hats off to that department. And then we're going to introduce to you this evening a course that we're calling Seminar, and I'll talk to you about that in a more deep way right now. Oh, we are also moving from a 3-tier school to what we would call offering in 2-tier classes. So what we are finding is that when we have 3 tiers, which is college prep, honors, and AP, is that most of our girls are no longer taking college prep courses. They want to take the honors and they want to take the AP. So we are going to move in that direction and do differentiated instruction for students to be able to operate in the honors. And it will help us to significantly enhance their programs in doing so. All right, seminar is kind of cool because basically what we heard from our girls is that Compass Exploration Days are fun and they're great, but they're reaching the end of its shelf life. And we started to see, for example, in the Saturday classes, our girls were really not interested in doing Saturday classes. And I don't know why. I think that our girls are really busy, and it is important for them to have their weekends to do other things. They're traveling for sports, they're doing all kinds of different things on the weekend, and our Saturday classes, I think at the time, were great, but they have kind of fallen out of favor with our girls. So we are going to introduce in our new schedule an opportunity for each girl, all of our girls in cohorts, grade 9, 10, 11, and 12, to go through a seminar program within their daily schedule, like a class, and they'll be shifting off every 4 to 6 weeks. It's quartered. So they'll get just a little snippet of each of these seminars that are offered throughout the year. And each of those seminars are going to be connected with Raleigh and area. Because one of the things that we know with Compass Exploration is that that is a big deal. That's when our kids get to head out and be a part of their community. And we're going to fold it into their schedule and not have it outside of that schedule. And you're going to see how that's going to work in a minute. Just so you know, with that seminar is going to come, with that is a portfolio for life. And in that portfolio for life, students will be able to chronicle the 10 competencies. It will be competency-based, and that portfolio will become a grad requirement for next year. They're not going to be evaluated A, B, C, D, and E, 100%, 99, 98, 85. It is all based on the outcomes of the 10 core competencies. And so the best way that they can demonstrate that is through a portfolio for life, where they're able to chronicle that demonstrating the understanding of the core competencies. And I'm super excited about that, because this is a truly promising practice. If we truly want girls to understand competencies, we have to point them out. We have to have them understand and learn those core competencies through activity and through being engaged. And so that's what we're going to do next year. And this truly is an amazing component that we're adding next year. We're going to do a little deep dive into the seminars. I've got Anne-Marie Davis, who's going to come up, who is, I will call her the chief architect of the seminar program. She's going to do a little deep dive with you, and then I'll come back and describe how exactly that all of this is going to happen.
Thank you, Leslie. I'm Anne-Marie Davis, and it is really hard to contain my excitement, but I will try my best and share what I can with you today, and just know that there's so much more. So I'd like to introduce you to the seminar program, and it's been introduced to you as a new course. And rather than this concept of a brand new course, this is actually just an iteration of what we have been doing. We've just found it its own home. So hopefully I can help make sense of that, but before we get into that, I want to share with you the structure. So this is where the architecture comes in. So what we've designed is a themed course load for the girls in the seminar program, that as the girls go through their St. Mary's experience from 9th to 10th to 11th to 12th, it becomes more and more student driven and more differentiated for your child. So by the end of her St. Mary's experience, she has cultivated and developed her passions and her skills, and by the end of her program, she has created a capstone project, an internship, something of her own design with the support and mentorship of all of our faculty and staff here at St. Mary's School, that she can contribute to the school and she can contribute to the community. We know that it takes some scaffolding to get her there. So we'll start in the 9th grade, and we have a broad program, and I'll be sharing a little bit of that with you. And again, it becomes more and more individualized as she goes through the program. Each program, each quarter, is by theme. So you'll see the 4 themes here: communication, health and wellness, innovation, and social impact. So those are the themes that you can think of them logistically as the quarters. So each quarter will be a communication quarter or a health and wellness quarter, and the students will rotate through those different quarters every year. Again, it's going to become more and more individualized as she moves through. This is such an incredible program because it really has become this house and this place. And I've been thinking about it just as we've been talking tonight. It's almost like a bridge course. It's a bridge course for student life. It's a bridge course between student life and academics and outside of the gates into our wider community. What it does is it bridges our mission and it opens it up to everyone. And it's really because it is preparing these girls for not just college, but life as well, because it's not just academic content, it's these competencies that you're hearing about. I'll speak to the mission again because that portfolio for life that Leslie mentioned, that's a product of our mission. That is something that they will literally carry forward with them after they've graduated, and they will take that with them to their college to show, this is what I've done, this is what I'm able to do, and continue to develop these. They can take that to their job interviews, their careers, and I've got a fun story to share with you about that portfolio later. It's just-in-time learning. So this is something that we've developed because we're experts in what girls are going through at this particular time. I know what it's like to be a teenage girl, but that doesn't make me an expert. It's the research that helps us become the experts in working with your daughters. So we know what they're going through at each developmental stage, so we've designed curriculum to help support them and to foster their growth. So I'll show you a sample program in a bit, and that will show you what we mean by that just-in-time learning. The location advantage, location, right, Tim? It's something that we are so excited about. Raleigh is booming, and we have identified countless partners, community partners, not just in downtown Raleigh, in Durham, in the Triangle, and beyond. So we're incorporating them in. So we'll be taking girls out, and they'll be coming in as well. So the community partners, it's an absolute advantage that we have here at St. Mary's School. And again, we know that this is what's best for girls. It's a curriculum designed for girls and for their needs. And it also gives them autonomy and choice over their own academic program and their own development, which we know is something that girls absolutely need. So this is the seminar course. Again, this is an iteration of what we've been doing. And to help illustrate that, a little bit of math, if it adds up. So we have our Compass Exploration Days that we've had on Saturdays or a Friday. Those have been just kind of built into the schedule. So we're taking that day, that week, Compass Week. We're taking our community partnerships that we've been developing and continue to develop, and our faculty. And by faculty, I mean our academic faculty and our student life faculty. And when we combine all of those, we get seminar. So again, it's not something brand new. It's just we found the right home for this kind of programming. On the right, you'll see some of the many community partners that we have. District C is a program that's developing entrepreneurial skills in girls, and it's like a sprint. It's a design sprint, and it's really exciting. We've had several girls go through District C, and so they'll be helping us develop our innovation curriculum. The Social Institute is for social media, and rather than it being punitive and don't post that, you shouldn't do that, it's how do you win at the game of social media. HQ Raleigh, as we've mentioned, it's a startup hub here downtown. They're expanding rapidly. They've got a location in Charlotte. So we consider them an extension of our campus, extension of our faculty. And I will speak again later to this, but one of our partners at HQ is Offline Media. So our current HQ cohort, they're working with Offline Media to develop a social media campaign, which they're really great at. So they've actually already been implementing the suggestions that the girls have been giving them. And the Post Center. So the Post Center is a local company for health and education, health and wellness education. So I'd like to show you a sample course load for our 10th grade. So you see that we have communication as a quarter, as a theme, innovation as another quarter, as another theme, health and wellness, and social impact. So girls will rotate through these 4 quarters throughout the year. Sample topics, and we have the alignment with the 10 competencies. I mentioned that this was a bridge as well to the academic classroom, because if we're all using these same these same competencies, it's something that we can all collaborate on and make the bridge between student life and academics and make it all the more relevant for our students. So, for example, in communication, we would be partnering with the Social Institute to develop social media campaigns to advance the cause. Innovation, we've partnered with the e-garage for prototyping. Health and wellness, the Post Center to help with reproduction, sexual identity, and social impact. We're thinking about places like Carol's Kitchen, A Place at the Table, Dress for Success, those kind of community partners. And we're constantly reaching out and building these relationships because we're in this area that has so many great things going on. And again, this is all competency aligned. We've got this for each grade level, and so we're continuing to iterate and design. And with that being said, it's all human-centered. It's all student-centered design. And so that takes us to our next slide, Portfolio for Life. This is a sample of what girls may create. So this is something that maybe a 9th grader would put together. Just a couple of images that share some of the experiences, some of the reflections that these girls have created. So 9th grade, the girls go to Outward Bound. To be able to articulate the growth that a girl has experienced in herself and to be able to express that in a way to be able to share that with others. That's what we want them to be able to do and to put in this portfolio. So we've got this ability to capture all of these experiences, all of these learnings in a digital portfolio that then they can share, like I said, with colleges and with potential jobs. I was speaking with the founder and CEO of Offline Media the other day. He's helping us develop some programming as well. And I showed him this slide, and he stopped me and he said, "This is exactly what I want to see whenever I'm hiring people." And that was so affirming, because we're talking about high school girls being prepared not just for college and the rigors of college, but they are being prepared for that next step. So this is just a small sample of what we have to look forward to. It's really exciting. There's so much we can do with this, and that's the fun. So it's all teamwork, it's all student-centered, and it's finally got a home in a block in the school day for the girls to experience a consistent messaging of what we truly value. It's preparing them for college and for life. So with that, I'll pass it back over to Leslie.
All right, so again, I want to reiterate what Emery talked about, which is that the seminars are a course in the new schedule that we're about to give you a look at. I also want to ask for your help. Many times when schools launch initiatives, what matters is that the girls sign up for some of these enhanced courses. And I think it's really, really important for our girls to step out of their comfort zones and try something different. We want this experience to be enhanced. This is what they've asked for. They've asked for enhanced courses. They've asked for some different things. And so what we're trying to do is deliver that. So please, 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 when you go home and have this conversation with your daughter, really encourage them to step out of their comfort zone. All right. Our current schedule is not functional with the enhancements that we want to make. We can't renovate this house. We have to move. And so our schedule needs to change. When we started and embarked on this, we got considerable amount of feedback from faculty and from students. And so what you're going to see in this schedule is a reflection of what they were asking for. We are shifting to I'm actually going to go ahead. We're shifting to what we call an 8-period AB schedule. So if you take a look at this document, you'll see that students are not taking classes every day. That's the key here. What it offers us is an opportunity to schedule 8 different opportunities over a period of 2 days. That's how an AB schedule runs. So you can see that this student, and by the way, this is a sample schedule. We have not created the actual schedule yet. So English may not be in A1, but it provides you kind of an idea of what a student might be able to take. So for example, on Monday, first thing, they would have English. On Tuesday or the second day, they would have mathematics, and it would go A, B, A, B for 4 blocks a day. That means that we have increased the amount of time that students are able to be in class, 75 minutes. And that's going to help our faculty to go deeper into the learning, to be able to have the time. Currently, now on most days, they are running after 40 minutes of classes. So this is going to give them an opportunity to interact with their instructors, to be able to go over homework, to be able to delve deeper. And that's what we've been working on with respect to our professional development, because in order to run a 75-minute class, we want to make sure our instructors are doing what they can to be really engaging with the students. And that gives them the opportunity to do so. The other thing that our students told us and our faculty is that there are some non-negotiables. And the non-negotiables are chapel, assembly, and advisory. So if you take a look right here, in terms of the community time, that's where that will stay the same. There's virtually very little difference in that will happen in that community time that it does this year. It just transfers over really nicely into the new schedule. Every student, as you can see here, has a study period. We wanted to make sure that we lived our mission with respect to joy and balance, because our girls can constantly talk about how stressed and overworked they are. We want to add this into their day so that they have a little time during the day to be able to get their work done. And as you can see, we've kept tutorial as well. That was the other thing that most of our girls, not all of them, but most of our girls wanted to keep. And so that will run the same way that it always has, because it's pretty important. As you can see, seminar is one of the courses. That means that Compass Exploration Days are folded into this. So there will be no more Saturday classes for the girls. And I think that we're probably going to get a standing ovation when we present this. Because we recognize that they need their time. It's important. The other thing that they're going to be really, really happy about is the fact that we have added 10-minute passing time. You can't see that here, but in the previous schedule, your girls have probably told you at home, they've probably complained about it, that to get to East Park requires a sprint. And the reality of it is that they don't get there on time. Classes often start late just simply because they don't get there on time. So the 10-minute passing time is going to really, I think, be a nice benefit for them to be able to chill a little bit between classes, be able to get to East Park and not have to be stressed while getting there, or being able to just relax a little bit before the next class. The other thing that this schedule does, just want to make sure that I get all of this in. They've got the study block. Oh yes, they wanted to start late. I know that you probably find that pretty unusual for a teenager to want to not get up in the morning for 8 o'clock class. We could not accommodate a later start on every day, but you'll notice on Wednesdays there is a late start at 9 o'clock. This has a double purpose for us. Remember, I talked about the fact that we needed to invest in our human beings in our school with respect to professional development. This will give our faculty, and they'll start earlier on Wednesdays, our faculty, will give us an opportunity to do weekly professional learning. Because what we heard from some of the schools that we have talked to that have implemented new innovation is that if you don't provide professional development before and during, that it's going to be a problem because you don't know what will pop up as a result of a change. And so we're giving that time into the schedule for that to be able to happen. I want you to know that your girls can still come here at 8 o'clock in the morning. It will just be a study block for them in the morning to be able to do that. So late start does not mean that school is closed. It is still open at the same time, so don't let them fool you into thinking that that's good. So, your girls asked for more choice. We've tried to deliver. More opportunities to explore new interests, I think you can see that. More time to interact and engage with teachers during class time. A regular 75-minute class will do that. More opportunities to reflect on their learning. They will not be taking the same classes every day. There will be a break so that they're able to get their homework done, that they will be able to collaborate with their peers, to give them an opportunity to digest the material so that they're not walking back into the classroom the next day. And natural breaks in their day for better balance. And by the way, the day ends pretty much the same time too. I've talked to our faculty about the fact that these are schedules, and you can slice a schedule any way you want. It's what you do with it, with the girls in the classroom, that makes the biggest difference. And so professional learning is part of this equation, because we want to make sure that we are delivering an engaging opportunity for your girls each and every day. So with professional learning, we need to make sure that we offer that with our faculty, so that we are doing this to the best of our ability. And we've been already starting that. We have used as an accelerator design thinking. Anne-Marie talked a lot about design. She used a lot of the design language, but this has been our accelerator. Design thinking is a series of processes that you can use to help create opportunities to do a lot of the 10 key core competencies. But we've used it to help us design and try to figure out how we're going to do this. So it has been a huge accelerator, and your girls have probably talked about using stickies, actually developing all of that with them. We're using it a lot in our classes, and so I just wanted for you to know that has been a huge game changer. So to date, we've done 5 years of research and reporting, ongoing participation in presenting at professional conferences. Professional learning team was established this year, and they are delivering professional learning to their colleagues. We've got communities of practice for people to do a deep dive into some of these things. And we have established a huge number of partnerships in our community to enhance our professional learning. When we do our professional learning on faculty, we're doing it cross-curricularly, and we're doing it across student life and the academic faculty. So the work is really cross-pollinating throughout the whole organization. And what that does is math teachers talking to English teachers, science teachers talking to visual and performing arts teachers, are creating some really, really interesting collaborations. How many of you came to see Mean Girls? That was a cross-curricular collaboration between English and the visual and performing arts program. So that work has continued in and outside of the classroom. Mr. O'Shea.
There you go. Let's hear from Mr. Leslie by far had the biggest challenge tonight because she had to deliver a lot of material, and well done. But it is honestly incredibly exciting. It's also challenging. There's some challenges in front of us that we know we need to handle. For instance, Leslie brought up the schedule. We start late on a Wednesday. You know, we're catering to boarding students and day students, so we have to make sure our day students, if you have dual working families, that we're ready for those girls at 8 o'clock, just like we would on any other day, right? So we've got that. We also know for our boarding students, Saturday programming is important. So we're going to have to up our ante a little bit on Saturday programming if we're not going to have the compass exploration days on Saturday. So we know that there are challenges, and there are probably some unforeseen ones. We have some that we know about, obviously. Are we going to get it perfect the first year? No. Well, nobody does it perfectly the first time, but we are sold, and we know that this is the best way to proceed for our girls. So what we'll be doing next week after winter break is presenting these curricular updates and schedule changes to our girls at Assembly on February 21st. It's the Wednesday they return. Then we'll kick off course enrollments for the 2018-19 year after the re-enrollment deadline, which happens to be next Friday. So many of you have already re-enrolled your daughters for next year. If you haven't, please remember that the deadline is next Friday to do so. We need to know about your daughters returning to school because admissions is working with people who are applying for their spaces, and we have to let them know a couple weeks after. So obviously we want everybody to be back. And let's see, we're continuing to develop all these programs over time. I think it's incredibly exciting. Hopefully you saw from our faculty a night a sense of the energy that is behind it, and I think it's only going to make us a better place. I like to say, and I've said it before, that truly there are no limits for this school and for your daughters, and I think this is a better way to even enhance their experience here and make them even more prepared for their future. And our future for St. Mary's is actually here right now, and we're looking forward to embarking on this adventure with them. Thanks for being here tonight.